The Kansas City Royals in 2014 were here to shock the world. They hadn't made the playoffs since winning it all in 1985, and they just made the postseason off the backs of Salvador Perez, Alex Gordon, Mike Moustakas, Eric Hosmer, and Lorenzo Cain. They had starting pitching in James Shields, Yordan Ventura, and Danny Duffy, and even had 3 relievers with over 60 innings pitched and a sub 1.5 ERA in Greg Holland, Kelvin Herrera, and Wade Davis. Their playoff journey starts with the Oakland Athletics in the wildcard game. After winning 89 games, they're faced with a win-or-go-home scenario. This wildcard game was in fact wild, and I'll be covering it in the near future. But with the game tied 8-all in the bottom of the 12th with 2 outs and 2 strikes, Salvador Perez delivered.
For a 2-out hit.
They go on to the ALDS, where they sweep Mike Trout and the Angels, sending them home in the only playoff appearance from Trout to this day. They sweep the first-place Baltimore Orioles, and now they're in the World Series as the wild card team, having not lost a single game all postseason. Their opponent, the San Francisco Giants. With players like Buster Posey, a Hall of Fame level catcher, one of the most interesting men on the planet in Madison Bumgarner, Pablo Sandoval, otherwise known as the Panda, and a couple of pretty good Brandons, they were a powerhouse. The Giants were no strangers to the World Series, having won 2 of the last 4 championships in 2010 and 2012. They were here to do it again. The Giants just seem to reach another gear in the playoffs. They get a complete game shutout from Madison Bumgarner to beat the Pirates in the wildcard game. They handled Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals in 4 games with a team ERA of 1.6, then beat the Cardinals in 5 to advance to their 3rd World Series in 5 years.
Ishikawa hits one into right. The Giants win the pennant.
The Royals entered the World Series on an 8-game playoff winning streak, but that came to a screeching halt against Mad Bum, who pitched 7 innings of 1-run ball, striking out 5 Royals batters in the process. Hunter Pence set the tone early for the Giants with a first-inning 2-run home run off Royals ace James Shields to put the team up 3. They continued to pour it on as Shields would allow 5 runs in 3 innings, leading to the Giants winning Game 1 7-1. The dynasty had made a statement, and it was very clear that the Royals' biggest obstacle was going to be Madison Bumgarner. In Game 2, Kansas City fired right back at the Giants. They turned their rookie starter Yordan Ventura on the mound, who pitched a solid 5.1 innings, allowing only 2 runs. The Royals' big 3 in their bullpen of Herrera, Davis, and Holland then combined for a scoreless finish, after help from a 6-run inning with RBIs from Salvador Perez, Billy Butler, and Omar Infante. The Royals evened the series and electrified the fans of Kauffman Stadium. Kansas City had proved they weren't afraid of the big bad Giants and showcased their explosive offense and elite bullpen to win Game 2 7-2. We head to San Francisco for Game 3. Jeremy Guthrie gets the start for the Royals, and after the Royals scored 3 runs early, Guthrie threw 5 innings. They had a 1-run lead, and it was time for the Royals bullpen to dominate once again. With help from stellar defense by center fielder Lorenzo Cain, the Kansas City bullpen proved if they were going to win this series, it would be them that was going to be the X factor, as the Royals win a tight game 3-2. The Giants, however, answer in a big way in Game 4. After falling behind 4-1 in the 3rd, the Giants' bats would explode to score 10 unanswered runs. It was San Francisco's bullpen's turn to shine, led by Yusmeiro Petit, throwing 3 scoreless innings in relief after the starter left the game early. The Royals' bullpen, however, had their first hiccup of the World Series, as relievers Brandon Finnegan and Tim Collins allowed 7 combined runs. The Giants won this game 11-4 and would tie the series at 2. Now it's once again Mad Bum time. Game 5 saw a historic complete game shutout, where Mad Bum only gave up 4 hits, struck out 8, and put the Giants 1 win away from the title. Offensively, the Giants were led by Brandon Crawford, who drove in 3 runs, and Travis Ishikawa, who added an RBI double. Kansas City's ace James Shields would be charged with his second loss of the series, and this one goes back to Kansas City, 3-2 Giants. Now facing elimination at home, the Royals erupted for a commanding win. They scored 7 runs in the second inning with big contributions from Mike Moustakas and Nori Aoki. Rookie Yordan Ventura had an emotional night, dedicating this game to his friend that had recently passed away, and in his honor, he threw 7 shutout innings, giving up only 3 hits. Another big hit from Moustakas in the 7th led to the bullpen shutting the door on the Giants. This was a huge momentum shift, and just what the Royals needed to do after getting shut out in San Francisco in Game 5. They came home and shut out the Giants themselves in Game 6, winning 10-0 to force a winner-takes-all Game 7.
I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and I feel no evil because I'm blind to it all. In my mind, in my gun, they comfort me, because I know I'll kill my enemies when they come. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell on this earth forever.
Game 7 of the World Series. 2 teams, 1 trophy. A historic game with legendary performances and soul-crushing what-ifs. Game 7 starts with Jeremy Guthrie on the mound for the Royals. Tasked with keeping the hopes for a Blue October alive, Guthrie gets Gregor Blanco to fly out to center field. The next batter, Joe Panik, grounds out to second on a 1-0 fastball, and Buster Posey grounds out to Moustakas at third to end the top of the first. Guthrie only needed 10 pitches for a quick 1-2-3 inning, a great start for Kansas City. The Giants' starting pitcher is Tim Hudson. He became the oldest pitcher to ever start a World Series Game 7 at 39 years old, and he retires Escobar on the second pitch, a flyout to left field. But the next batter, Nori Aoki, would reach on a walk, after almost wearing one in the shins. Lorenzo Cain is next, who hits a grounder, but the Giants can only get the out at second, extending the inning. Eric Hosmer would ultimately strike out, looking to end the first, scoreless. The Giants bat in the top of the second after a leadoff hit by pitch for Pablo Sandoval puts a runner on. Hunter Pence singles and Brandon Belt singles to load the bases. Michael Morris hits a sac fly to give the Giants a 1-0 lead, and the next batter, Brandon Crawford, also hits a sac fly to score Pence, but the inning ends with a swinging strikeout from Juan Perez as the Giants take a 2-0 lead. That lead would not last very long, as in the bottom half of the second, the Royals answer right back. Billy Butler hits a leadoff single to center field on a breaking pitch that finds too much of the zone. Alex Gordon then doubles on a line to the right field gap to score Butler from first. Salvador Perez, the next batter, is drilled on the first pitch in a bad spot, and he needs a moment to gather himself, eventually taking first base. A fly ball from Moustakas moves Gordon over to third, and with 1 out, Omar Infante gets the ball in the air to score Gordon on a sac fly, tying the game at 2. And after a single from the next batter, Escobar, Giants manager Bruce Bochy pulls Tim Hudson for Jeremy Affeldt, who gets the ground ball to end the second, but this game is now tied. Top 3, Guthrie's back on the mound, and he gets the ground ball back to the mound for an easy out number 1. He then gets the next 2 batters, Joe Panik and Buster Posey, to strike out, ending the top half of the third, another efficient inning for the Royals starter. On to the bottom of the third, and Affeldt is back out there for the Giants. He battles Lorenzo Cain, who fouls off a few tough, well-located pitches, but he wins the matchup, getting a single to right field. The tough AB would, however, be spoiled as Hosmer hits a ball on the ground, and Joe Panik says, "Not today, bud." He dives and flips to Crawford, who executes the double play, perfectly getting Hosmer by a fingertip. The umpires would have to review, but Hosmer would be confirmed out. And Affeldt gets Butler to ground out as well, and the inning ends still tied 2-2. The top of the fourth gets underway with Pablo Sandoval and Hunter Pence getting a hit to put 2 runners on. After Belt advances Sandoval to third on a fly ball to left, the Royals manager Ned Yost brings in the big guns, Kelvin Herrera. He gets Giants batter Michael Morse into an 0-2 count, but Morse delivers the go-ahead single to right, putting the Giants up by 1. The Royals would hold them there and keep the game at 1 run. A strikeout from Crawford and a ground out from Juan Perez ends the inning. 3-2 Giants. We head to the bottom of the fourth, and the Royals look to bounce back. Affeldt is still pitching for the Giants, and he drills Alex Gordon right in the back this time. And we see a shot of Giants starter Tim Lincecum potentially stretching to come into the game. Not an uncommon move for teams to go with a good starting pitcher in elimination games to ensure that they have their best available arms pitching the biggest moments. The hit by pitch is erased to the very next pitch as Perez grounds into a double play. Moustakas ends the fourth with a groundout, and we catch a glimpse of another starting pitcher for the Giants in the bullpen, Madison Bumgarner. Top of the fifth goes quickly as we have a little repeat of the third inning where Blanco makes contact, but he's out. Then Panik and Posey strike out for an efficient 1-2-3 from Herrera, doing all he can to keep the Royals' championship dreams alive. But we head to the bottom of the fifth, and out of the bullpen walks the Royals' worst nightmare. Madison Bumgarner has already cemented himself as one of the greatest pitchers in World Series history. In his career, he was 4-0 with a 0.29 ERA on the biggest stage, and here he is taking the mound in a 1-run game on 2 days rest after throwing 9 innings of shutout baseball against a team who scored 10 runs the night before. Talk about a pressure situation. There is practically nothing on the planet that phases Mad Bum, though. He starts the fifth against Infante, who singles to right. An immediate base runner puts pressure on Mad Bum and the Giants right out of the gate. And at this very moment, the Giants statistically have a 54% chance to win the World Series. A sacrifice bunt moves Infante to second base, but he gets stranded there as Bumgarner gets Aoki to line out and Cain to strike out. The Royals are going to need something special from their bullpen of elite arms if they're going to have a chance. Pablo Sandoval starts the sixth with a single, but is doubled off the next play on a 6-4-3 double play from Hunter Pence. Brandon Belt is the next batter, and he gets a single to right field, creating a little bit of history with his teammate Hunter Pence, becoming only the second pair of teammates to record a hit in all 7 games of a single World Series, which hadn't been done since 1956. Herrera then gets Morse, the owner of the go-ahead RBI in the fourth, to strike out looking to end the sixth with no further damage. Mad Bum returns to the mound and continues his domination of the Royals lineup, getting Hosmer to pop up to short, Butler to fly out to center, and Gordon to line out to center. On just 12 pitches, he has a clean 1-2-3 inning. Wade Davis replaces Herrera on the mound for the Royals. One mistake will likely put this game out of reach the way Mad Bum is throwing, so the pressure is on. A nasty pitch gets Crawford swinging for out number 1. Juan Perez strikes out on a good pitch up in the zone, probably looking for that nasty low breaking ball that just got Brandon Crawford, the batter before. And Gregor Blanco grounds out to short for the last out. And if you think Bumgarner's finished yet, you're dead wrong. He's back out there for the bottom of the 7th and deals another quick 9-pitch, 1-2-3 inning. Every pitch he threw was a strike. Perez flies out to right, Moustakas grounds out to third, and Infante strikes out. An incredibly efficient inning from Bumgarner when they need it most. He's preserved this 1-run lead since the 5th, and now they have a 75% chance to win the World Series. We head to the top of the 8th. Wade Davis returns to the mound after a clean 7th inning. He gets a quick 2 outs on a strikeout of Panic and a 2-pitch groundout from Buster Posey. Pablo Sandoval lines it down the line for a double, but the inning ends with a Hunter Pence groundout. The game is still 3-2, and the Royals bullpen is doing all they can to give them a chance. But Madison Bumgarner is still dealing on the mound, back out there for the bottom of the 8th. Before this game, he had already held the record for lowest ERA in World Series history with a minimum of 20 innings pitched, and he managed to lower it even further, now sitting at 0.26. How many batters do you think he faces this inning? If you guessed that he would face the minimum 3 batters for the 3rd straight inning, you'd be absolutely correct. Escobar strikes out swinging, Aoki grounds out to Crawford, who's had a lot of action this game at short, then Kane pops up to second. And just like that, the 8th inning is over. The Royals now only have 3 outs to work with, and it has not looked good for them against the dominant Bumgarner all series. Greg Holland is in a tough position as he comes into the game at the top of the 9th. The rest of the bullpen has done a great job allowing only 1 runner to score, which they had inherited from the starter. And Holland shows why all year the Royals bullpen has taken them this far, going 1-2-3 himself, getting Belt to ground out and then recording 2 swinging strikeouts on Morris and Crawford. It would all be for nothing, however, if the Royals are unable to win this game. With 3 outs to go, Eric Hosmer steps in the box, and who does he see staring back at him? If you think it's anyone other than Madison Bumgarner, you haven't been paying attention. He's 3 outs away from making history and recording a 15-out save in Game 7 of the World Series on 2 days rest after a 117-pitch 9-inning shutout in Game 5 and a 106-pitch 7-inning outing in Game 1. Hosmer strikes out to start the inning. Billy Butler in a 1-1 count pops up in foul territory. The Giants are 1 out away from cementing their dynasty in the history books forever. And up steps Alex Gordon. He rips the ball, the left fielder plays it, but it gets past him all the way to the wall. Alex Gordon has some speed. This is huge for the Royals. If they can tie this game right now, anything can happen. But wait a minute, they held him at third base. The third base coach puts up the stop sign, and they do not score. This decision has echoed for the last 10 years as a massive what-if moment. With Gordon's speed, it's arguable that Crawford would have had to execute a perfect throw to Posey, and a perfect tag would need to be applied. Many, many years have passed, and more debates have been had about whether or not the Royals should have sent the runner home to force the play, but they clearly had all the confidence in their all-star catcher Salvador Perez to drive him in. But when you have a player like Madison Bumgarner on the mound against you, throwing the way he's been throwing, you just have to take advantage of the little mistakes made by the rest of the team, because Madison Bumgarner is just too good and he's not going to make another mistake. Perez would battle for 6 pitches, but history, legacy, and the baseball gods were on the San Francisco Giants side.
Popped up. Send the ball in foul territory. Giants win. A World Series win for the San Francisco Giants for the 3rd time in the last 5 years. And their hero, Madison Bumgarner.
This would not be the end for Kansas City, however. The heartbreak of such a close defeat in the 2014 World Series led them to refuse to let it define them. They came back in 2015 stronger, hungrier, and more determined than ever. In 2015, they were no longer a Cinderella story. They were champions with grit, resilience, and a never-say-die attitude. They captured the world title and etched their own names into history. But 2014 unfortunately ends in an even number. And like the Texas Rangers in 2010 and the Detroit Tigers in 2012, the Royals just couldn't beat the big bad dynasty known as the even-numbered San Francisco Giants. Thanks for watching. I really enjoy making these videos and showing them to the kids at practice. I never expected to gain any attention on these things, so if you enjoyed the deep dive into Game 7 of the 2014 World Series, check out some of the other games I've covered. There's a rich history in baseball that so many have never even seen. What are some of your favorite games of all time? Let me know in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more playoff baseball breakdowns.